Good morning. My name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies. At 11:11 on the 30th of March with today's Monday's musings. And I'm chuckling to myself because I can't seem to get bloody comfortable. But the reason I'm struggling to get comfortable is because it all feels a little bit too comfortable. So setting up this morning, the light was working, the microphone was working, the camera was the right angle, everything has slotted into place and I can't get my head around that. I can feel my legs swinging like a little child underneath my desk, and there's a fidgety type energy that is excitable, and there is an invitation, and I feel that with almost like a motherly love, actually. Collectively there is an invitation, and that straight away is where my mind jumps in and says, how can that be possible? But the emphasis this week, we've got a lot going on with the full moon in Libra, but the emphasis this week, even though it's an air sign, because it's opposing the sun in Aries, is to look at our identity, to look at what has become our truth, and to admit whether or not it still is, simply by going into how we feel. Recognizing that in order to restore balance, it's one thing to understand something, it's another to feel that, and vice versa. It's one thing to feel something, it's another to understand it, to comprehend that these are both sides of the same coin, thank you, but to keep connected to the abundance that is beyond them, beyond their separation. So we can know why something has happened, we can feel what we have gained and what we have learned. The invitation this week is to be comfortable with what is now being asked of us to carry forward as a result. For many, that's going to be returning back to the same thing. So this excitement that I feel, this comfort, and this childlike energy isn't new for me. It just has never been given permission to take centre stage as much as it needs to at the moment. It needs to come back in order to see how much it has grown. Whatever aspect is returning for us now needs to do so without the, what would be the word? It's not triggers, it's not glimmers, it's not pain. Although these things through the past may have initiated, it's initiations, thank you. Although there have been many things in our life that have initiated us to behave in certain ways or share certain resources or connect to particular scenarios or individuals, they have been initiations. That isn't necessary anymore. We don't have to bring forth an almost threat response in order to motivate us. I'm aware that doesn't fit in with what is going on around us, and that is where we may feel some, and I really feel it in my third eye and in my crown chakra. I have done for the last few weeks. I have a cold that has come back, that is clearing through here quite painfully, actually, because it feels very sharp still in my vision. But I am aware that what may be going on outside may not fit the narrative of what's going on internally. This week it's not about ignoring these things, but finding a middle ground. Not a middle ground as in sitting on the fence. This morning my kittens I've dreamt over the last few weeks that they're going to jump over the back fence and get stuck, and I kind of thought that was not possible at the moment because they're nowhere near jumping over the fence. They're quite small. This morning I went out the back to find both of them sat on the fence. They jumped onto a box to get onto the fence. So I moved the box, right? I moved the box. I moved the potential out of the way. I thought I had eradicated the problem. But of course not. These cats are incredible. They've still managed to get up onto the fence because they've seen something now. By sitting on the fence, they've seen something that has called to a deeper curiosity within them, a deeper playfulness within them. Now, I've seen that they may well get stuck, and I know the number of the house that they may well get stuck on, and I've been prepared for the outcome as much as I can be. But now it's about watching the things that we care for, whether that's creations, relationships, dreams that we've held on to or whatever, watching them become what they need to be now. Trusting that we have everything based on where we've been so far to face any outcomes. Okay, really learning from that experience, not just through our own embodiment of them, but through the creations that have been born as a result. A parent never really knows how well they are as a parent until they've become a parent and experienced parenting. And that comes from the creation, that comes from the dream, that reflects it back, that comes from the child, that comes from our vision. Yes, of course, our vision. This week, it's not about bypassing what is going on. It's not about just focusing on your emotions or just focusing on you and who you are, just focusing on what can be done with a certain situation. This week, it's more about coming home to who you are within your own vision as the creator of it. Now, I was going to say I'm aware that may cause knee-jerk reactions. Actually, I'm not aware of that, and that's an old story for me. So if this resonates with you, it's because it's where you are. There is a shift going on with the third eye. There is a shift going on with the crown chakra. There is a recognition of not just what we would like to happen, but our role within it. And I need to draw the line with that also. So whilst my kittens are sat on the fence, they're sat on the fence because they want to see beyond it. They're not sat on the fence doing nothing, appreciating all the times that we have witnessed, but also knowing that there comes a time, which is different for us all, where everything we have seen is initiating so much within us is going to get uncomfortable. Now, for some of us, that's how we create. We get uncomfortable and we shift the narrative. We change the outcome. For others, that's not going to cut it anymore. And we're going to be asked to expand in how we would normally manifest something, to be more in alignment with it, to be more calm with it, to be more comfortable with it. And that may feel different. The invitation this week is to really sit with it and acknowledge, is it different? Has it changed? Or have we now changed enough to embody what is being asked of us, to be gifted forward? Not just in our actions, that's not that they're not important, but in the energy that we place behind them now. So is there anything else that I need to add on that? Well, not really. And there is going to be it's not even an invitation, it's the line in the sand of whether or not we want to keep going over things this week. And it's all about focus. It's all about focus and recognizing that focus is alignment, but also recognizing that focus on our emotions and our intuitive wisdom is alignment as well, and just how important that is. Yeah, it's about keeping the fire of creation going. You know, again, we talk about fire, we talk about the energy of fire, but it's one thing to know, it's one thing to spark something, it's another to keep it alive. It's another to commit to the process, to await the outcome and to do what is necessary at each individual stage. I'm great at sitting on the fence. I'm great at observing. I'm not so great at... well, I shouldn't say that actually. Yeah, be mindful of the language that we have of ourselves. I was going to say I'm not so great at initiating things, but no, I am. Recognize where your strengths are this week, truly where they are, not based on the past, but where you are now and what you actually bring to the table, of what is being not asked of us, but manifested through us. So be aware of the temptation to go over the same message this week. Come back, take stock, pause, and really feel into what is different about you, about the situation, about the things that you offer, about the path ahead. And ensure that at least one of those things that is different is how you see yourself in the situation and the things that you offer and the path ahead. It's what it's all about. I'm going to use a deck that I haven't connected to today. Normally I journey with the tarot and I really get to grips with my own experience of it. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter how many times you journey with the tarot, whether it's the same deck or a different deck, it's different every time because we grow. And yeah, thank you. That's the whole point of the hero's journey, right? We go out, we seek the information, we learn about ourselves, we bring it back home, and then we share it and we grow from that. So recognizing where you are on the stage of your hero's journey, acknowledging that the hero you're searching for is yourself, and ensuring that you have what you need in place to keep walking this eternal, infinite inner path of wisdom. I'm not going to connect to these cards before I work with them. I haven't even looked at them really. I'm hoping they'll be shuffled enough because I haven't really shuffled them much either. I'm going to trust the order that things fall into, and that is really, really important this week. There are things that are out of our control that need to play themselves out. What we're being invited to do is come back to who we are. Come back and stand in what we offer and our energy and our vibration and our story. Yeah, you know, there are stories. We often think about changing the story and changing the narrative, and that's what change is. But we all have this path, okay? We all have this fated destination and this journey. And whilst we can alter our perception of it, and whilst we can change certain outcomes of it based on that, the journey is the journey. It is eternal. Really feeling into the major theme of your life, the major current sea of your life, the major vision of your life. It doesn't matter what job you have or what relationship you're in or what you think you do or don't offer. Who you are and how aligned you are to that within your own life, and then from there grow and expand. The growth comes from within. We know this anyway, but it's taking on another level. So on that note, I'm not going to keep going over that. The cards that I'm using I haven't worked with before, but I trust my own intuitive sense. They are the Tarot of the Everlasting Day by Marcus Katz. I don't know if Tally Goodwin was involved in them. It's only got Marcus Katz on the front. Incredible author. I totally recommend, if you're looking into the tarot, to read the 78 days around the tarot in 78 days. I'll put a link to it. Really, really great book about the tarot because it makes it applicable to life. So that's my thing, right? That's my journey, making these things applicable to life. What is yours? Seek, if you're going to seek wisdom about yourself, at least understand who you are. Now, obviously, I respect that some of the wisdom sought and gained will be about who you are. So if you're not sure, come into the body. Come into the regular themes and patterns in your life and acknowledge what they've been about. Acknowledge your story. Only then can you acknowledge that you're the author of it, right? Okay, so energies this week, not where I was planning on going, but yeah, okay, so bring it to completion. Why would I share things like that? Well, I've written the blog for the full moon in Libra. I haven't gone much into the astrology of it because it's not my thing. Obviously, I do like to research what is going on to back up what I feel after I've felt it, because that's how I work. And there's a bit of an invitation into that this week, to acknowledge how you work and be okay with that, because everything is relevant and everything is needed. But the blog this week has the theme tune of Lady Gaga. It'll be out tomorrow in written form. It's already on Spotify, but it has the theme tune of Lady Gaga, Born This Way. You know, the chance of being born, like I've written, is like 1 in 4 billion. The amount of lives that do not get as far as we are currently, as in the positions that we're in currently. And this isn't about privilege. This goes beyond that. This is about recognition of the miracles. You know, we're coming up for Easter, and there's a big emphasis on miracles, and mainly external miracles, you know, rebirth, resurrection, all those kind of things. But yes, there are a lot of things coming back round and coming back to life, but they can only do so through us. Don't lose sight of the miracle that you are. The chances of you being born are just against all odds, and here you are. If you feel nothing this week from anything that you see, don't forget the fact that you are and will always be the hero within your own journey. And that isn't that isn't egotistical. That isn't self-righteous. That's truth. Okay, the fact we are all here is against the odds. We often forget that. Bring that back home. And we have the 3 of Cups at the bottom of the pack. So I'm going to say that I've shuffled them enough. Okay, I'm going to say that they've been mixed up enough. We're 14 minutes in, and I'm aware on Instagram we only have the 20 minutes. So 3 of Cups at the bottom of the pack. What do I see from here? Well, I do see the feminine celebrating. But I see in the way of the feminine celebrating a lot of flowers, a lot of beauty, a lot of growth, but almost as if they can't get through it to the other side. Recognizing what brings us beauty, What helps us to conceive can be the call for beauty. But there's still an opportunity here this week to go through the obvious, to acknowledge when something has not outlived its purpose, but has begun searching for deeper roots, for more expansion, ourselves included, for curiosity. Sense into any curiosity this week, sense into any excitement this week, with an openness to explore. Underneath it we have the King of Swords making himself just visible, but let's have a look. Monday, Tuesday, wow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so yes, the deck could have done with being shuffled a little bit better, but having said that, could it? Because it feels quite applicable that whatever comes out this week needs to come out, and it is around divine intelligence. Again, I've mentioned that in the blog. It is around divine intervention, but it is also around artificial intelligence. This is the only tarot deck that I know that has a card for artificial intelligence. And I don't know, well, I don't know what it represents, because it doesn't represent the normal order of the tarot. It's an additional card. So on the Monday, we have Angel of Water. We have that divine intelligence of our emotions. This isn't about overthinking things. This is about feeling things and allowing them to help initiate us within. Because the next day we have the Angel of Air, the East, and the mind. Okay, right. On the Monday, emotionally things can feel a bit simple. On the Tuesday, because we've allowed that simplicity, that curiosity, that innocence, that beauty to flow, our mind is going to start to see how multifaceted things are. They may look black and white, but actually there's a chance for us to weave everything within it if we can align the heart and the emotions and the mind together in time for the full moon on the Wednesday. I am going to be running out of time on Instagram, so if this does cut out halfway through, you can check out the rest of the video on YouTube. Unfortunately, I am restricted there on that platform. And this week, particularly by the Wednesday, by the full moon, we may have to draw the line and only be able to give what we can give in certain areas and circumstances. And relationships, if more is wanted, then a different perspective, a different subscription, a different service may be required. They're all free on YouTube and Instagram and on TikTok, but it may mean that you can get more, go where you're going to get more from the content. Okay, go to the places where you're going to get the whole story. Particularly by the full moon on the Wednesday, because we have the Angel of Earth, and that comes in the space of the unknown, but also the place of the body in this deck. The full moon isn't on April Fool's Day, and it feels really, really important to acknowledge that it isn't on April Fool's Day. I'm 18 minutes, guys, so from here on Instagram I'm going to call it quits. Pop on over to YouTube to finish the rest of the video, because it's important to continue the flow. If you're on YouTube or TikTok and you've been watching this the whole way through, thank you for sticking it out. And give yourself not a pat on the back, but an acknowledgement of all the places that you have stuck it out, of all the places that you have remained dedicated. There are a lot of energies returning that have needed a break, that have needed to go within and find their own answers. And when they do, because they've had that time out, they're going to be strong, they're going to be beautiful. And there are going to be a lot of people that have continued regardless. There's a place for it all, okay? Give yourself a moment to acknowledge in your body, in your mind, and in your heart and in your emotions the distance that you have traveled before initiating anything else. The full moon isn't. And you know, for me personally, because I know now I'm not being rushed with the restrictions of an outside platform, it feels as if I can be more grounded. And on the Wednesday, provided we can take those moments to be with our emotions, to be with the multifaceted realizations that are arising on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, time is of the essence in the most beautiful way. Not in rushing, but in slowing down, looking back, appreciating before moving forward. The full moon isn't on April Fool's Day. Only just. Actually, it's on Thursday, isn't it, with the artificial intelligence. So the full moon isn't on April Fool's Day. It's on the 2nd in the UK. Only just. And it's on the 2nd with the numbers of 311, okay, in the morning, which is the Empress and Justice. All these things that we've discovered, all these things that we've learned, all these things that we've created, how have they restored balance? How have they helped us to witness our own growth and the growth of the world around us? How have they helped us to bring fairness back into our own reality? Where could they? The invitation with the full moon is to acknowledge we were born the way that we were born, not necessarily from its negativity. You know, I'm reminded of the song by Rag and Bone Man, I'm Only Human. Actually, to be human is to be divine in our emotions, in our mind, in our creative abilities, in our connections. But we must acknowledge that first. What actually comes up for the full moon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is the 1st, isn't it? So Thursday is the 2nd. What actually comes up for the full moon, but only just, is the artificial intelligence. The interference, the algorithm, the patterns, and the predictions. I don't know if you'll be able to see these cards, but they're, oh wow, yeah. That's pretty, it's a really interesting vision, right? A really interesting vision. And that also may come to the forefront on the Thursday with the full moon. A really interesting vision that's going to make us have to almost take stock and look, step back, and then really look into the patterns and cycles of our mind, the intelligence that they have been creating in our neural pathways. There's a lot of neural pathways that are opening up individually but also collectively. It's the third eye and the chakra, the crown chakra energies, chakra, however you want to call it, but also the seers energies, these light filaments in the brains that are being evolved. Now, I've received the moon Nike, so I've received the seed, right, of that, and I feed my seed, so I've received the growth of it. What's happening is the fruition of everything that has occurred. So these neural pathways, not just individually but collectively, are opening because there's more light coming in. You know, whether you want to say that's from artificial intelligence and the speed of evolution and technology, we're becoming more aware of things, whether that's our consciousness and the things that we're becoming more aware of in the external, whether it's our own understanding of our emotions and who we are and what we're here to offer, you know, in our journey. All these things are providing more light. The light is received by the DNA in our cells, and the DNA in our cells have yet to reach their potential and then some, okay? So the DNA is being evolved in our cells as well, whether that's light from the sun, light from awareness, light from technology, all of this influx of information, these codes of information, this light language, if you will, that is coming in, is inviting us to create. It's inviting us to look at the patterns that we're creating. It's inviting us to look, well, here at the algorithms that we're creating and deciding to connect with. The other day I saw a thing on social media that was saying about the addictive, you know, there's a lot going on with the social media platforms, and quite rightfully so, the addictive patterns of them and the consequences of that for people. I was looking at this post that was saying about the negativity of doom scrolling, which we all know, right? And I scroll, but I did remove the word doom, right? Because based on my algorithms, the things that I scroll, the things that I choose to focus on, bring me a lot of joy. You know, a lot of joy. I spend 5-10 minutes scrolling, enjoying what I'm seeing, sharing what really resonates in a positive way for me. And I get a lot of comments from people actually that enjoy what I share. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't share other people's content for whatever reason. And look, I'm not going to get into this. It is what it is. But for me, the many ways that the earth speaks, God, source, whatever you want to call it, the many ways that the earth can create is an incredible thing. Okay, so to share that just expands its consciousness, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I signed up for. That's my thing. That really turns me on. And this week we are being encouraged to look at the patterns that we're creating and whether or not they do that. We are all of an addictive nature. Why? Because it makes us feel good. Whatever that may be, whether that's, well, whatever that may be. Yeah, initially it makes us feel good. The invitation here is to look at any patterns that may appear as if they make us feel good, but don't. Or those that we think shouldn't, but do. Particularly with the full moon. Why is this important? Because it's about acknowledging balance. When we're in balance with ourselves, when we're aligned with ourselves, we get to understand who we are, how we were born, and from there, what is wanting to be expressed through us in all of this information that's coming through. Because ultimately, underneath it all, with every return, is a chance to return whole and wiser, and from there, more open to sharing what we have discovered. Embodiment, thank you. Yes, with every return is a chance to integrate and embody. And we all do that differently. We all do that differently. Some of us need time out to do that. Some of us sit on the fence to do that. Some of us continue to share and learn from each other and, really grow as part of a communication with each other. What's important is to acknowledge that the way that everybody does it is essential for their own integration. It's essential for their own integration. There's no right or wrong way here. But without the integration, without doing it the way that it works for them, they're not going to learn what they need to learn. Okay, so I'm just seeing that. Many coming out on the hero's journey, many returning from the hero's journey, many coming out of the hero's journey, but many also on the hero's journey not quite acknowledging that they are the teacher of whoever's seeking that person on the hero's journey. So be very aware of where you are. Be very aware of where you are in your cycles, truly, not where you may like to be or where you think you should be, and that's from a positive and a negative perspective, but actually where you are. So what is the artificial intelligence? I'm looking at the words at the bottom here, and there is the word interference, algorithm, pattern, and prediction. What is this artificial intelligence? When I look at the deck, when I can see the Three of Cups to one side and the opportunity for things to be delivered here now, for things to be celebrated here now, but the feminine being very low down. I can show you these cards actually. I had 10 of Wands underneath, yeah. The feminine being very low down beneath the flowers, like, oh, that's beautiful, that's beautiful. You just look at that, that's beautiful, that's beautiful. But there's something beyond here, okay? There's a castle beyond here. There's a divine goddess actually beyond here that is saying, see beyond what was beautiful, what is comfortable or, even uncomfortable that you become accustomed to. Search within you, particularly in regards to the feminine, particularly in regards to divine intelligence and how it has been seen as artificial. Okay, so there's no coincidence that the cards that I've pulled for the beginning of the week are all related to the angelic realm, the higher realm, the blueprint. Depending on how you see the angelic realm, personally I'm very scientifically minded, so for me the angelic realm is a high frequency. Anything that is a high frequency is the potential or the blueprint or the idea of something, and we all have that. We all have a outcome that we can aspire to. That's not to say that where we are isn't good enough, but there's always room to grow, to evolve. That's life, okay? Whether that's our DNA or our mindsets, there's always room to evolve. It's not about changing as such, but expanding this week. But that will only come, those new beginnings. So these are the angel of water, the angel of air, and the angel of earth. These are new beginnings. They will only come in those ace moments when we recognize we are the ace. They will only come by recognizing the divine intelligence from within us. If we see emotions as a pain in the arse, as an inconvenience, that's all they'll ever be. If they're a divine messenger, they take on a whole new purpose. If we see our mindset as something that we don't particularly want to think about, or we're trying to avoid, or mindfulness, let go of, or whatever, they will only ever get in the way. Whereas if we can invite those thoughts in for the understanding that we may not have yet gained, I'm being reminded of the yolk of the egg, which I'll come back to in a moment, that we have not gained. Okay, now I see where we're going, but I do only have a few. Okay. If our thoughts can be embraced for the divine messengers and inspirations that they are, if our body can be seen as this incredible channel of light language that it is, whether that's light language from a spiritual perspective, whether that's an idea that you have, whether that's a recipe that you come up with, or something that you want to paint, or the way that you see the world, or something that you long to share, you have received an initiation, a divine idea, a divine creative spark. We talk about the energy of fire for transformation. We talk about, keeping things going, keeping things alive, keeping things lit, if you will. But if we do not recognize the source from where they come, if we do not recognize the divinity of these emotions, these thoughts, our body to receive them, we will only ever be a magician that is, for want of a bad word, pulling rabbits out of hats. As we go into the Easter period, yes, we talk about miracles, mainly externally. We talk about rabbits and eggs externally. Easter is about rebirth. Easter is about coming home. Easter is about integration and completion and rising up from what we have discovered, being reborn from within. The only way to do that is to expand beyond what we know, to evolve beyond what we know. Easter is the return of the light as well, the Son Christ consciousness, the Christos consciousness. It will always be external. All the time we see it as outside of ourselves. So what I saw when I was feeling into the divine intelligence, but also the body, and when I wanted to say the yoke, I've seen a drum on Facebook, which I'll tag. It's incredible. I don't have the funds for it, but it might be there for somebody, and it's a Mary Magdalene drum. Mary Magdalene drum by Rachel Crow, and it is bright red, okay, and in the shape of an egg. Now obviously we have chocolate eggs and we have rebirth and we have fertility, but I didn't know the story that she put underneath it was about when Mary Magdalene was talking about the resurrection of Christ, and she wasn't believed, and her role within it wasn't honoured, I guess. She wasn't believed that this had happened, that she had seen it. And the person that questioned her basically said, I believe you as much as I believe that that egg could turn red. And it did. It did. Artificial intelligence, what we are seeing, what we are capable of, what we believe about ourselves, is it true? Is it what we've been encouraged to see? What we've been encouraged to believe we are capable of? Whether that's our thoughts, whether that's our emotions, particularly our body. When I look at the Three of Cups now, underneath it with the Ten of Wands, this what would normally be exhaustion, but a collection here of wands, actually a collection of journeys that have been walked, of magic that has been gained. When I look at these Three of Cups, it's like the feminine. I don't mean gender here, I mean creativity, I mean intuition, I mean wisdom, I mean healing, I mean all the ability to receive these things and create with them, to give birth to them, has been limited by what it has been shown is beautiful, ourselves included. This is the divine, the difference between divine and artificial intelligence. And also recognizing the artificial intelligence that may be divine also. Now that is, I'm happy to say, and more than willing to say, out of my remit at the moment. There is no, it's not, okay. Okay. There's a lot of technology that is coming in that is of the same light vibration and frequency of Atlantean times, of Mayan times, of Toltec times, and they are igniting within us remembrance of it. Okay, there is a lot of intelligence that is coming in under the guise of it being artificial, that has the same frequency, the same vibration as divine intelligence. Not because it's angelic or it's this or it's that. You can get into that if you want, that's fine, but because it's a higher frequency, and a higher frequency is a more light frequency. However, the artificial intelligence here is to believe that the physical side of things isn't to be matched to that. So if you're going to scroll on the internet or whatever, great. Just make sure you get out in nature as well. If you're going to do spiritual training or take plant medicine, great. Just make sure you apply it to your life as well. Otherwise, the difference between divine intelligence and artificial intelligence becomes the patterns that we continue until we can restore that balance and harmony between them. So on the Friday, it's pretty intense, the first part of the week. It really, really is. On the Friday, I've actually not pulled a card per se. I've pulled the outside image, the outside card here that says what it is. Okay, that says what the deck is all about. It is the tarot of the everlasting day, and there's a winding path in front of us. It is the path of infinite potential on the Friday, provided we can see and say what it is in how willing we are to walk it. I need a drink. On the Saturday, I looked at my clock then and it looked like time had gone backwards. It hasn't, but that was the impression that I got when I looked up. That was the impression that I got after all of that this week. On the Saturday, looking backwards, it almost felt like time had reversed itself. And there's something here with reverse engineering as well coming in. There's something here with being able to see the past, give healing to the past. The card that's linked to this full moon is the Three of Swords. There's something here about the Sacred Heart, about recognizing that the original Three of Swords in the tarot, remember that swords are the mind, okay? That pain can come from separation in the mind, from separating ourselves from aspects that we have walked, from our past, our present, our future, from each other, from the divine, thank you, from artificial intelligence. You know, if we're creating artificial intelligence, does that not make us divine intelligence? At one level, where does it end? The truth is it doesn't. It's the eternal day, right? It's the path, the tarot of the eternal everlasting day. Okay, so the everlasting light. On the Saturday, we have the Three of Blades. There is no heart here. It is just bog standard swords, bog standard thoughts, bog standard blades that we know, depending on what we do with them, what we do with our thoughts, what we do with our connection, what we do with our awareness and our consciousness is what determines the outcome. We know this. We're not separate from this. And the Sacred Heart knows this. Come the Saturday, if we're not sure, come back into the heart, come back into the body. Recognize, ideas are only ever as good as the vessel that creates them. You are important in your human, self. We then have, I actually thought this was the Ace of Blades, but it's not, because of course we already have that out with the Angel of Air. We then have the Two of Blades here, but you can only just see the top one. You can't quite see the bottom one. It's almost invisible because of the light that's in front of me. It's there, but because of the light that's actually reflecting now, you can just about see the physical side of it. As above, so below. Can we see the physical impact of our... No, don't try to force it on the Sunday, because the truth is we can't. The truth is we can't see the physical impact. Can we be with the, not even discomfort, excitement and curiosity of that? For so long we have tried to plan things, tried to create things, tried to do so from a separate perspective. Come this week, we're being encouraged to connect to something beyond us, but also of us, in order to deliver the next step. Okay, because one of those cards was the outside, let's have one overall. These are incredible cards, actually. Their energy is pretty impressive. I always knew they would be. They have a rose and a key on the front. The rose lineage being the key. I always knew, I shouldn't skip over that either. recognizing that the rose lineage is the key, the beauty way is the key, the way that a rose unfolds is the key, the Mary Magdalene line, the feminine is the key here. Okay. Now I'm seeing Mat, the Egyptian goddess, the keeping of it light. Keep it light, keep ourselves light, not just our heart, keep ourselves light. One card for this week. Well, let's take out the Tree of Life. Took out the Tree of Life, and right underneath it is the Magician. And actually, I'm really not liking this image. I'm feeling really quite uncomfortable with the image of the Magician that is sat in front of me. And this morning, with the daily guidance, the message was, I can't quite remember what it was now. Have I got my book? Hang on. Excuse me. I know the overall message was to be what was lacking. Overthinking with no felt sense. That was the message. And what I'd actually seen was the Magician take the place of the Emperor. He sat in the throne. There was a changing of the thrones, which we may find that anyway. We may find that on the collective in many, many areas, but also in ourselves. There's a new version. It's not a new version. Sorry. Yes, thank you. There's an impatience as well. Stop, pause, really listen to the information that's coming through. It's not a new version of ourselves. It's a more integrated version of ourselves, a more advanced version, evolved version of ourselves coming through that is taking the throne, so to speak. And I can see the potential of walking type energies here as well, so being mindful of that, but that is taking the throne, so to speak. I didn't feel as if it was strong enough. It felt quite flimsy. It felt really flimsy. The energy felt flimsy of this extra that is coming in, and the guidance was, it is us who must provide what is lacking. As humans, it is us that has to provide what is lacking. So all those things that we find inconvenient, our emotions, our thoughts, our body, the exercise, the getting out in nature, all these chores of being human, particularly in the spiritual community, particularly when we think about the miracle and how it's, you know, advised or encouraged that we be as far away from the physical body as possible. All these things that are seen as inconveniently human is actually what's lacking right now. So I'm going to put the Magician back in the pack. What I've been drawn to look at is the Tree of Life to the right of me. You know, there was a while back where the Tree of Life itself definitely felt as if it had shifted. The soul blueprint definitely felt as if it had shifted. The potential of us all within that felt as if it had shifted. The question is, physically, have we? What do we need to put in place now to embody the necessary epigenetic changes to be able to hold this light, to create with this light? The Angel of Water and the Two of Blades again, and we are back to the Tower of the Everlasting Day. Okay, the Two of Blades and the Angel of Water. Be with our emotions. Allow our emotions to be the transformation that they are. So this deck, the Angel of Water, is in the space of the West, which for me would be the shadow of Torongo. Endings, completions, integration. Be with our emotions. Allow them to be the transformation of all the things that we are yet to see, simply by connecting to the fact that right now we are in our body. This is what provides the path. This is what's going to provide the path forward, our physical body. It does feel as if I want to add more there, and there will be a lot coming up this week. In order to avoid the Ten of Wands that was underneath it all, take a moment, look at where anything you're sharing is repetitive. Look at the message you are trying to get across. Not everything, thank you, can be tied into nice, pretty bows, particularly when it's not ready. How willing are we to just leave things open, out in the open, and allow them to unfold? Take care, and I'll see you. Yes, of course, because it's the only way there's going to be anything different. Take care, and I'll see you next week.